One of the things that I think a lot of times boys need is not just exposure to one guy.
One dad.
No matter how good the dad
is. He can't be everything.
He can't be everything. One of the most valuable things I learned as a guy was I had a gay professor in college. You need that.
Yo, so we back in here for another edition of F-ya-Motha, and everybody that watches my show knows I don't really like Obama for a plethora of reasons. I don't know if it was the black label or black foods law that he passed, the blue law he had passed where cops can shoot people with impunity and immunity. The fact that he bombed a whole bunch of countries in the Middle East, then tried to play it off like Trump is the worst nigga in office. What else? The fact that he didn't pass any type of laws or provisions to help black people when they were getting gunned down by police officers in the streets that could have been or possibly were racist. The fact that he rallied on being the first black president but didn't actually help out any black people within this country. I've heard shit about him passing laws that give subsidy grants for a small black business. Fuck all that. Substantial actual change or help and assistance to the people. Trump does that. Biden did that. He didn't do that. But every now and again I go on Twitter and people are calling Michelle Obama a man and calling Barry gay. And I defend him. Not because I necessarily like the guy, because as much as I dislike him as a politician that was on some fraudulent shit for the black people. He still is a black person or a melanated person. Let's say that. And the slander when it comes to his looks or Michelle's looks or his sexuality has nothing to do with anything. I'm not going to slander the man if he is or isn't gay. There was a story where some white guy said he smoked crack with him and they had a homosexual encounter back in the 80s or 90s, one of the two. That's of no consequence. That got nothing to do with me. I don't use that as fodder against the man, because what you do on your personal time is your business. I ain't never gave a shit about that. But for him to go on Michelle's platform, which him saying this kind of confirms that she may be a beard. That he's not even, those might be his kids through biology, but I don't even think they were conceived naturally, because he goes on her podcast to say boys need more than just a dad. They need a gay man in their life. Now, I have gay cousins. My cousin Eric, and that's the only nigga I know, openly gay. My cousin Daryl was a prison gay nigga, but he ended up dying. Those are the only two people I know within my family tree that are openly homosexual. And I have gay friends, lesbian and gay. I don't knock your lifestyle. I don't necessarily think that that's a provision for young boys to have. Now, if you had a gay Filipino teacher or a gay Filipino stepdad and a college professor that was gay, I mean, that's cool. But to say they need, we gotta look at the word need. You need food or you will die. You need water or you will become dehydrated and die. You need to breathe or you will die. I fail to realize how one needs a gay man in their life. Like, you just need good people of good ethics and good morals and principles in your life. Whether gay or straight, once again, your sexuality is personal. What you do on your off time ain't got shit to do with me or kids. Now, people are going to say, well, it'll help them and expose them to people of the LGBT lifestyle, and they'll be less prone to bully other kids because of it. Kids call you gay in high school. It had nothing to do with who you was banging. It had something to do with, to us, being gay was just different and weird. Not necessarily the sex act itself, but just the mannerisms that most gay people had. Kids are despicable. Kids are nasty. Kids are mean. They're kids. As a grown man, I ain't never expected kids to be other than kids. When kids are bullying other kids, to me, that's what kids do. When grown-ups try to bully other grown-ups, that's problematic because there's no provisions. You don't know how another grown-up is going to react. That can get real volatile, real violent, real dangerous, real quick. With kids, depending on what neighborhood, zip code, or school system you're in, maybe Brad won't get the Glock and come back to school and let off 52 shots. But getting back to the topic at hand, I don't think a kid necessarily needs a gay person in their life. Once again, I don't think sexuality has shit to do with teaching a kid anything. Kids shouldn't necessarily know your sexuality or preferences to be realistic. They can think that you gay all day long by your mannerisms of being flagrant and flamboyant. Disclosing that, I think, is actually inappropriate. I'm a straight man. I don't disclose my exploits with younger men that are in my family. I got nieces and nephews that are 14, 10, 9, 6. I'm not going out here telling them my exploits sexually. They ain't their business. Hell, I got a nephew that's 23. I'm not telling that nigga how I be hitting hoes from the back. If I do or if I don't. That ain't his business. We're not peers. Now, if he asks me, I'm gonna divulge because he's a grown-up. But for the younger people in my family, that's not their business. I'm not going to divulge. If they ask, that's not their business. Certain things a child needs to be exposed to and certain things that a child doesn't need to be. Sexuality or who you sleep with is irrelevant. If a kid is under the age of 15, they shouldn't even know what being gay is. Unless you've explained it to them. But even then, that's like, that could be summed up to like you explaining that it's a sexual act between two men or two women. Not mannerisms, how they flick their wrists and all this. That is just mannerisms. That's just how a person presents themselves. I've met many of people that I thought was gay because of mannerisms, and they weren't. That's just who they were. Now maybe they were effeminate or they was androgynous, but yeah, they weren't even homosexuals. That was the crazy part about it. And I've met a lot of cats with stern wrist that bang guys. So with mannerisms, you just never know. However, getting back on track, Obama is not demystifying these myths and rumors. If anything, he's fueling it. Now, I don't know if he went on Michelle's podcast to do that so they can get some type of relevancy, popularity, or whatever. Maybe he might be clout chasing. He might be saying this shit for clicks and views. A lot of people, as of late, have been going on social media saying shit and popping shit because it sounds hot. One white man was saying Tupac wasn't really about that life, couldn't fight and couldn't shoot. I just proved that with a video of him shooting a target from about 50 yards away. Jim Jones said he was better than Nas. I pulled up the stats. They didn't bear out. So maybe Barry is just going on this podcast to just garner some type of relevancy and popularity. So when she runs for president, it'll help. However, the Democrats are done. And this is not really helping. In any event, if y'all like this episode, you know what to do. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out.
No.